also have a conversation on that topic actually.
Yeah, I think
So
it's a great idea. I'm glad that you reached out so quickly to have me back on your channel. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great. So how is going your channel, your podcast channel and your YouTube channel? It's going
Um,
great?
our YouTube channel, English Wordmaster, we just released a Common European Framework of Reference test. Do you know CEFR? The A1,
Yeah.
A2, B1, B2. So we just
Yeah.
released a test on there, which is
Okay, that's
pretty
good.
popular. So if any listeners out there want to, test their ability, like to see what level
Okay.
you are, you can go to
Okay.
English
English
Wordmaster.
level. If anybody
Yeah.
want to check their English level. Okay.
Mhm.
So okay.
Yeah, I think it's quite useful. It's on YouTube, but you can give yourself a score. You can check your own answers, and you can
Okay.
see like what your approximately what your level is. If you're
Okay.
A1, A2, B1, B2, it's kind of
Okay.
a nice tool. And
Mhm.
the podcast is going really well. I release one
Okay.
new episode every day, and
Oh,
so
great.
yeah, we've
Mhm.
had really fun conversations with some of our students and then also with my co-host. So
Oh,
sometimes I record with my students, sometimes I record episodes with my co-host. So yeah,
mhm.
there's kind of mix there.
And how is your experience with the have a conversation with the Indian guys actually on YouTube channel, your YouTube channel?
Yes, I talked to someone named Chandan, and I talked to another person. I can't. His name escapes me at the moment. If you I know that he posted our interview. It's great talking to. I really like talking to Indian people in general.
Okay.
I find the
Mhm.
conversation is very pleasant and positive. It was really good conversation, and they
Okay.
both of the all the interviews I've done, everybody speaks English really well, so
Oh.
I don't have to change my I don't have to adjust my speech. I just speak normally, and
Mhm.
everybody seems to understand me, and I can understand
Okay.
them. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Mhm. It's very good actually.
yeah,
Because if you speak in a your speaking of way actually which is very natural for you, maybe I would not understand you very well way.
mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I try not to I try not to modify my speech too much, even when I'm
Mhm.
teaching, because I feel like students need to listen to real speech. I think that's
Yeah.
important, because
Mhm.
in the real world, no one is going to
Mhm.
modulate their language. They're going to just speak normally. And so I
Yeah.
think it's good for students to kind of hear that and to get used
Mhm.
to listening to real natural speech. So I try not to do too
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
very
Those person, those you had a conversation, other included me with actually those are the learners actually. They are learning this language. They are not a expert. Want to ask you about the Indian people. What is the one best thing for the Indian actually? Because you had a conversation with the people, with the Indian people. So what do you
yeah.
think about people?
Oh, I mean, the what's the best thing about Indian people? I think it's got to be the politeness. I mean, I just find that like Indian people are so polite and so gentle. The way that you guys reached out to me and asked
Mhm.
me to come on to your YouTube channels was
Mhm.
so respectful and so polite and so kind and generous.
Mhm.
Open-minded and open-hearted. So I think
Yeah.
that's the one thing that I really noticed is true for everybody that reached out to me was just
Mhm.
how kind and polite and respectful everybody is. Number two, my favorite thing about India is
Mhm.
the bread, naan.
Yeah. Okay. chapati in India, we call it a chapati. Homemade chapati, actually.
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm probably using the Western word. Yeah, yeah, because you have the best food in the world. It is amazing. So,
Have you
uh,
have you had Indian food,
oh yeah,
Aman?
yeah, yeah. I've never been to India before. I've never had like authentic Indian food, but
Yeah.
there are Indian restaurants here in Korea that I love, and
Yeah,
so
yeah.
my wife and my daughter we go there often. Yeah,
So, which type of do you like most in Indian? Which Indian food do you like most?
that's a good.
Naan.
I mean, I think it's got to be. Every time I go, I try a different curry. So I think
Okay.
curry and then the bread that the bread you're talking about together
Yeah.
is most wonderful. It's just perfect. It's just
Yeah. Yeah.
heavenly. Yeah,
So,
it's
have
amazing.
you have you tried the dal lentils? Have you tried any time the Indian dal?
Oh yes,
It's
yes, yeah. It's kind of like a chickpea, similar, right? Similar
yeah,
to
yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah. Right.
Lovely. I love it. Yeah, it's wonderful.
So it means in a South Korea also so many Indian restaurant.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's really good. It's really healthy, and it's good like source of protein for if you're like vegetarian or something. So
And
it's a really.
I'm a non-vegetarian also. I can eat fish and I can eat.
I'm not vegetarian either. I eat meat and chicken and all the good stuff. But um, it I know that there are some vegetarians and some of those dishes are really they're really good if you're a vegetarian. You can still have a lot of choices in
Okay,
yeah.
so it means you are a good cook also
No,
because
no,
those are
no.
the
Terrible. I just go to a restaurant and order it. Um, my wife is a good cook. Her mom is a good cook as well. So
Oh,
she makes really good Korean dishes.
okay.
Yeah.
So about Indian culture, like cooking, the Indian kitchen, three times in the morning, afternoon, and at night time. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We cook three times in a day. In a Indian, every Indian house actually, it makes the three times. Food
That's
makes three times.
that
Yeah. So
I can't
so in South Korea also make the three time food makes the three times.
yeah. Well, no, we usually eat together one time in the evening. Because my
Oh,
wife and I are both working for lunchtime, so we're at school. And
okay.
and for in the morning, I usually don't eat breakfast. I'm
Okay.
just not a breakfast eater, so I eat in the afternoon.
Oh,
So we eat dinner together. Yeah.
yeah. Forgot the one thing about the Indians actually, which is Indians are very hard worker.
Yes, that's true. I failed to mention that, but it is absolutely true. Absolutely true. Hard
Mhm.
workers, beautiful culture, great food, and very kind and polite. So, yeah, I really need to visit your country. I think it's
No,
amazing.
no, any general conversation. If you want to ask anything about India, so you can ask me.
Yeah, well, I guess I'm assuming that you are a really good cook. Do
Yeah,
you what
I'm
are
really good.
what are your
I,
specialties? What
actually, rather than me, my daughter-in-law is a very good cook. Actually, she
Really?
makes a very good fish, and she make a Afghani chicken, and lots of things she cooks very well. Actually, but I am also a good cook.
Yes, I thought that that's really nice that you have. Do you have a
In an Indian culture, we are living I am living in a with a three generation. Me, my son, my daughter-in-law, and my in-laws also. We just live together in a single home actually.
yeah? That's still the tradition, right? In India.
Yeah, but nowadays, it's a not a that culture. Actually, it become a nuclear family. So everybody have to go some places because of their work. If they are doing a work in a other company, they have to move other city. So that's the reason. Like my younger son is a living in a Mumbai because he is doing his job in a Mumbai. So it's depend on their work actually, which kind of work you are doing. So it's a depend on your work. So my elder son is a businessman, so he just live with us. He lives with us, and my father-in-law, he is a 90 years old, and he also lives with us actually. So we
Wow,
are three nations live together,
that's
and then
amazing. Three generations together under one household or under one roof. That's amazing.
yeah,
That's great.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
and if you talk about our relations, like my relation with my father-in-law and my in-laws, with a very good understanding with each other. And if I talk about my daughter-in-law, so she's actually working, and our relation also very good and healthy and happily we live together.
Yeah. Yeah,
Mhm.
in Korea, it used to be multi-generational in homes. We used to live
Okay.
together, but it's really
Mhm.
changed a lot in the last few decades because of what you mentioned before about you have to go
Mhm.
find where the work is. So if your job is in Seoul in the capital city and your
Mhm.
family is in the countryside, you cannot live at home. You have to move to the city, find an apartment. And so a lot of families are kind of split apart because of jobs, because of
Yeah,
the of career. Yeah.
well, it is happening in India. I told you, no, it is same actually. Whenever person doing a job, some other cities, then you have to move there actually. Hmm. So if
Yeah.
you talk about Indian, like a South Korean marriages culture, so there people prefer to law marriages. They get to prefer law marriages or arranged marriages. Culture also is be there.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. One more time. Could you repeat the question? I didn't.
Actually, I want to ask that if I talk about in South Korea, what type of culture is there? Like mostly people like to get a law marriages or prefer to a arranged marriages. You know, arranged marriages.
Yes. 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 That's a great question. Yeah. Usually, I would say like I've never heard of an arranged marriage in Korea. I know
Yeah.
that the most I would say almost all of the marriages here are through like dating, so but it's different than America. I'll try to separate the three countries a little bit. So in the
Yeah.
United States, we do a lot of dating. Is just you just look for a partner and you go out and mingle and either in church or in a club or in a school, university. You might meet somebody and then
Mhm.
you date for a long time, 6 months, a year and a half, and then you might get married. In
Mhm.
Korea, it's very similar to the United States, except in Korea, the family sometimes will try to help by introducing the daughter or son to other people. So they'll try to there's actually a whole industry of matchmaking in Korea where the company you pay a company. Yeah,
Oh,
so
it's happening like India. India also done this. Actually, this type of process is doing in India also. There is a special companies, matchmaker companies like
yes.
Shark.com, wedding, elite weddings, or like this companies is doing work actually. Oh,
Yeah,
it means South Korea and India is a similar culture.
it's
It
similar.
means.
I think it's got a similarity to it. I mean, the thing in Korea, if you come from a wealthy family, then
Okay.
the parents want to introduce if they have a daughter, They want to
Oh,
introduce their daughter to a doctor or a lawyer or a
oh,
CEO, something like that.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
if they have a son, then they want the wife should be from a good family. So that's very important. Kind of arranging it a little bit, not fully arranged, marriage, but kind of partially arranged a little bit, kind of introduced, kind of nudged a little bit, pushed, you two should
Yeah,
and get
yeah.
together. What I've noticed lately in Korea is that I would say most of it's more like American style nowadays. Mostly just a lot of couples will just meet through
Mhm.
school. University is a place where people meet. People will meet
Mhm.
by group of friends getting together, and then they'll introduce each other. It's just very very natural, kind of ways of that people meet. And
Mhm.
I think the more kind of arranged or partially arranged, marriages are kind of of the past. I think kind of yeah.
Yeah, I got it actually. Before they got married, because it's a partially arranged marriage. You are saying that, like in South Korea. I'm not talking about the America actually. America marriages is a different system, is a very different way actually,
Yeah,
right?
in America, it's very much like, well, our culture is very very strange. Like in a way, it seems kind of cold because when we turn 18 or 19, when we graduate from university, our parents are like, get out of the house, go live
Yeah.
alone, get out of here, you're done.
I like it
You know,
very much. I like this process, this system. I like this very much actually. Indian people just son become me like 60, 65, 55 years, and just at this age he depends on their parents actually. His
right?
parents, he may be 90 years, but they take care about their son. Like my husband, right now my husband is a 56 years old, right? And my father-in-law is a 90 years old, but he is takes care of my husband so much, so much. So this affection is very good. But sometimes the people don't become responsible. And so I like this culture in a US, because they become responsible at a early age actually. It's good.
I think there are good parts to all of the differences. Like every country's got like some good parts, and I think it's good to
Uh,
go off and take care of yourself because you learn how to be independent and
mm,
self-sufficient. You learn how to take care of yourself. But I think we also can get a little bit too much distance between families, so that we are neglectful of our parents. And I think what I like is the closeness of the Indian household, how close
mm,
those relationships are.
mm.
Um, when it comes to dating in American culture, I would say, you meet people where we meet people is usually at work or at school.
Yeah.
Those are the big places, but it's very much like the parents are not involved really. It's more of
So
like
we,
later when you're dating, then you introduce your girlfriend or boyfriend to your parents. But it's at first, it's just you have to find your own way.
mm,
But I think a lot, even in the recent past in America, there were,
mhm,
like very wealthy families that want to
mhm.
connect with another wealthy family, and one way to connect is by the children marrying. And so
Oh,
those kinds of arranged marriages, again, it's not really an arranged marriage, but it's kind of partially arranged. Those
okay.
were common, and I think it still happens, sometimes today.
It means parents attend their marriages.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
mean, it's not it. And what about in India? Like, do they still have fully arranged marriages? Is that still common?
Even I talk about when I got married, at that time, I was only 19, 20 years old only. And I'm talking about 32 years ago, I got married actually.
Yes. Wow.
I got married a totally arranged marriage. At that time, see my husband at that time. Before marriage, I didn't see my husband. It was very wondering actually. Now, actually, it's a Indian culture, but nowadays it's also totally changed.
Okay.
Before marriage, I got my son married, so he it their marriage also a arranged marriage. But they had a meeting 4 5 times for a capability. They get to understand to each other. It would be better for their relationship actually.
Yeah.
So they are nowadays in India, people getting a love marriages, even a arranged marriages also doing. But most probably 70% it is doing a arranged marriages.
Okay. And the thing that I learned, I heard this. I don't know if it's true, but you can correct me. But
Mhm.
arranged marriages are about just as successful or more successful statistically than non-arranged marriages, right? Like you would think, like in an arranged marriage, as an American, I would think, oh, they must get divorced really often. That would be my assumption, my guess.
Oh,
But it's not
okay.
true. The arranged marriages are oftentimes very successful marriages. Um,
Mm. Yeah,
and so,
it's true.
yeah, which
In
is to us, it's
in America,
counterintuitive.
so sorry,
So,
in America, do people believe in it? If the people do the get the arranged marriage, they would be a success or they would be fail. You are talking about like
well, no, um, in my mind, like we would think that like arranged marriages are fail more often,
oh
but I
okay.
don't think it's true. It's not true. I think that arranged marriages are
Oh,
actually just
oh,
as successful as non-arranged
yeah,
marriages. And
yeah. Mhm.
why is that? Why do you think that is? Like why does it work the way
Yeah,
it is?
I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Actually, what happened? In India, what happened in India? Two people don't get married. Two families get married. They become a relationship within the two families. And after marriage, the bride going to live with their in-laws actually. So sometimes the at the after the marriage, the bride and groom both are boys and girls, both are young, and they are a young blood, and sometimes they have a argument with each other. And if at that moment, if there is some elder person like me, at some time, my daughter and son have some issues with a personal topic actually. At that time, I make them understand that it is not good for you. That one is not good for you. So maybe that thing make works actually. These things work actually. Maybe in India believe that the marriages is more successful rather than love marriages.
Yeah, yeah, that's what's so interesting is that they're successful. Their arranged
Ah,
marriages work. And
yeah.
so I think, as a young person in America, when I was growing up, we would hear about that. They have arranged marriages in other countries, such as India, and we would say, wow, that can't work. That's impossible. How is that possible? But now, as a looking back as a 46-year old, I
Mm,
can see that, like, there's other ways of doing it that are just as valid, and as long as both families and both parties are fully committed to it, they can make it work. So yeah, it's really fascinating. It's an interesting topic for me because I don't know very much about it, to be honest. I'm kind of ignorant. So
but Jack, nowadays in India also marriages, the divorce rate increasing day by day.
mhm.
Because the people, the young couple, they most probably like to live a separate family, and now generation don't have a much patience, and they don't adjust, they don't want to adjust to each other. So day by day in India also, whether it is a law marriage or arranged marriages, the divorce rate increasing. I don't know what is the reason behind that. Maybe lack of patience, lack of adjustment. In Indian marriages, most probably women adjust in the marriages.
Yeah, that's really fascinating. I'm glad you brought that up because I think that your point about people not being patient is really true because even in my own experience, my wife is Korean, I'm American, and so there's a lot of opportunity for us to misunderstand each other when we first got married. But we're both patient people, so we
Mm,
kind of understand like okay, we have to there's a time to you can disagree, like it's okay to disagree and have disagreements, but it's how you disagree is the important thing. And I think these
mm,
days young people are kind of want instant
mm.
satisfaction, so if they disagree they just walk away. I'm finished, it's done. And they don't go through the process,
Yeah.
disagree, discuss,
Mhm,
reconcile, and there's a whole
mhm.
process to it. And I think these days a lot of people are just like the first problem and they just go, I'm done, I quit. And I
Yeah.
think a kind of that's a mistake. It's a big mistake that people make. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So whenever you have an argument with your wife at the time, who say the sorry? You are the one who say the sorry first, or your wife say the sorry?
No, no,
You
no,
know,
I always
so
say I'm
many.
sorry. It's always me. I, I I'm the one who always makes the mistakes, So I'm always, I,
So
I,
at last,
yeah,
actually, it's already become a 31 minute actually. So at last, I want to say that, like, regarding marriage, if you want to a beautiful married life and that time you have to patience, I think, a good understanding and trust to each other. And one thing is more important, it should be you should not criticize to your partner actually. So if you, yeah, so these are the important points. If you don't criticize your partner all the time, so maybe you can overcome from your problem, whatever doing in your married life. And one thing is more than you have to give the space to your partner. In Indian culture, these things is not happen for especially women actually.
right. But I mean, I think you've summarized it perfectly. Like, I agree with everything you said. I mean, exclamation point, because you're exactly right. It's about love and respect, and being patient. And I mean, those are so important in a relationship, in a marriage. If you're going to stay
So,
together. Yeah, you've been married 32 years, right? 32 years? That's amazing. I'm at 18 years. So
okay.
we're getting close to 20
And,
years. Yeah.
and whenever you completed 25 years, then you will celebrate your golden jubilee.
Yes. Right. Yeah, India. We'll go to India. Yeah, as our for a trip.
I think on your golden jubilee, you must see your wife like watch the Taj Mahal. You know the Taj Mahal; it is very famous in India. So you see her the Taj Mahal on your 25th anniversary. You can stay with. Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
Thank you so much, Nisha. It's so fun to talk to you, and the time just flies by like so quickly. But yeah,
Oh, okay, Jack, for today conversation.
at any time, I'm happy to talk to you. Yeah, let's do it again sometime.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Nisha. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Bye
Okay.
bye.
Okay. Bye bye. Have a nice day.
You too.
Okay.